Good morning, everybody. Kaiwaza with you. Welcome back to my channel and our third and I believe final installment of looking at my budget label Christmas records. Now, mind you, these are just the budget label records that I have right now because my Christmas collection is somewhat fluid and things may sort of come and go. I only pay $1 or $2 for them. I don't hang on to everything. I digitize everything and then I save it if I really want the cover and the record, or otherwise I pass it on to, I have a friend that does yard sales, or I take it back to a thrift store. But actually he just had a yard sale. I just took a bunch of stuff over. So anyway, let's pick up where we left off, looking at budget label Christmas records, which many of us had in our youth, our families had. So we have very fond memories of some of these records, particularly the ones that you may have had in your family. I know I do mine. First up today, this one, Christmas Organ and Chimes by the Magic Fingers of Merlin on the pipe organ, with Jonathan Wilson on Bethlehem chimes, not just any chimes, Bethlehem chimes. Now this one's on Grand Prix Records, but it's a very, again, this is similar to so many of the budget labels. This would have been issued, reissued, issued again, chopped up and put on some other records under many, many different names. So this one just says Merlin. I'm sure it's released as 100 different artists, but I like Grand Prix. They're quite cheesy. Up next, this record, well, we've probably said it before, but sometime in the 60s, I believe mid-60s, a huge hit came on the scene, which was Little Drummer Boy by Harry Simeone, or Simeone. I'm never sure how I'm supposed to say that. And everybody knows that Little Drummer Boy. It's the one you know that one. And everybody did imitations of it. What's interesting, though, is just a little side note on history, is Harry Simeone actually copied an earlier arrangement of the song when it was called Carol of the Drums by Jack Halloran. And Harry Simeone he totally just copied the arrangement, changed the name to Little Drummer Boy. It became a nationwide hit, and everybody thinks of, Harry Simeone. But Jack Halloran kind of really, and I understand he even kind of lifted it from the Von Trapp Singers, Sound of Music, that they actually did a Carol of the Drum that was similar in arrangement. Anyway, yeah, so the imitations of Little Drummer Boy just came out in plethora on the budget label records, and here's one. And what they would do is just take a version of one. They had a couple different budget label versions of Drummer Boy running around that all sounded very similar. Anyway, slap one of those on a record and pull out 8 or 9 songs from their other budget label recordings by who knows, and call it a record and just put it together. So they did a lot of that. This is one on Custom. This is another one on Crown Records called Christmas for All. I don't think this has this doesn't have the Little Drummer Boy. Oh, I think kind of the reason I put these together, it's sort of like if you would take this record, which was already a combination of previously issued budget label Christmas stuff, and they would just take this record, take one track off, and stick the Little Drummer Boy on, and then re-release it as this, basically, is what they would do. You gotta love them. I mean, really, you gotta love them. Now, this one I will mention. I love this. This has such a, it's like a 1960s vibe to it, right? Christmas Songs for Young Hearts. Gene Martin, who, if you're not really looking, you might think was Dean Martin, and the Arthur Clarke Orchestra. Now, what's interesting about this, I have had this in several incarnations, several different versions, frequently named Johnny Cole. He's basically a Perry Como sound-alike. He sounds very much like Perry Como, and so I don't know why they said Gene Martin, unless Dean Martin came out with his Christmas record that year. I mean, they should have called him, you know, Carrie Pomo or something. Yeah, there are other things I could say too that I won't. Anyway, I like this one. I've hung onto this one because I do love the cover. And in fact, Caroleer, it was called, which was a division, I think, of synthetic plastics, so like Diplomat, etc., reissued a lot of their old Christmas budget label records that were already old anyway, and just kind of issued them with new covers. I have a couple of these, but yeah, this one I like. So if you have that Perry Como sound-alike guy on some of your budget label records, yeah, this one is all him. And again, I've hung on to this one because I love this cover. This is one of my favorite budget label Christmas covers. Kitty's Christmas, of course. The obvious here, these are cats, kitties, Kitty's, apostrophe, probably it should be, not like children's Christmas, but I mean, whatever, right? I like the Perry Como guy. I mean, I think that was successful. I like the Perry Como sound-alike guy. The Little Drummer Boy, here's another case where they had a set of recordings of some choir doing completely religious Christmas songs, and then they stuck the Little Drummer Boy cover. This is the later Caroleer issue. I used to have this one as a kid with an older cover on it, but it was a painting of a drummer boy, so like, what's the diff? And I oddly kind of liked it as a kid, and I don't know why, because it was all religious sort of hymns. But I kind of did. This is the later Caroleer. I should show you a label on that, but it's very basic. Kind of like the Diplomat label. Here's another release of it. It's the same, very same recording. This is an older one, I guess. Yes. Because this is Diplomat records. So with kind of the nice old Diplomat label. I think the older Diplomat label was rather nice. And here's yet another one. And this one, now this is where they're capitalizing on the Little Drummer Boy being a hit by the Harry Simeone chorus, but they didn't play the Harry Simone's version on this record. It's their budget label version. Plus these selections from the church choir we heard before, and then some selections from Harry Simeone Chorale. So I'm not sure how they got these, really, because this was it Decca or Cap or something? This is a major label release. I don't know how they got a hold of those tracks or got the rights to it, but maybe they figured it was worth it sales-wise to like be able to actually hook up Harry Simeone with the Little Drummer Boy like that. They thought maybe it was worth paying whatever they had to pay to get those tracks. Now here's another version of this church choir again. Oh no, this is a different one. This is a different one, right? I think, yeah. This is called the 100 Voices of Christmas on the outside, and on the inside it's the 100 Voices of Christmas Christianaires choir. Silent Night. Yeah. Now here's another one that got reissued 100 million times. Christmas, and the version I have, again, I just have hung on to because I love the cover of it. And it may not show up really well with the lights and all, but Christmas with the Caroleers. This is the Promenade release. It's a foil cover, right? So I'm loving this. But this one was issued, reissued, chopped up on many, many different budget labels with different covers. Some of the covers are quite fetching for this one.
Home for the holiday, 'cause no matter how far away you roam, when you pine for the sun, friendly gay. For the holidays you can't be home, sweet home. I met
Caroleers. Not, there's also a kids group on budget labels called the Caroleers. Not the same people. So, yeah, it's kind of hard to know who's who when you're just looking at the labels. Now, this is another one I've kept because I just love the cover, and this one's a little bit interesting. Hail to Christmas, Peter Raymond Caroleers on Winecoat Records.
along with a song of a wintry fairyland.
Now this one's kind of interesting because I understand, I do not have a copy of it, but I have been told about half of this record is a guy singing solo with an orchestra in the back, and I have been told, but I haven't come across a budget label, the other record, the instrumental record yet, that this is actually an instrumental orchestral recording that they just plugged a singer over, that you can actually get it without the voice. And one of the songs, is it Let It Snow? I think it's the same singer, but he's doing a kind of not a bad Dean Martin imitation when he does Let It Snow. Then there's a couple of choral songs on here that are just, I don't like. Well, they're the Al Goodman. I don't like it. Kind of junky.
It doesn't show signs of stopping, and I brought some corn for popping.
But yeah, it's a cute cover. Love this cover. Hail to Christmas. Another one worth mentioning. I don't know. The Singing Nuns of Jesus and Mary. Now, this could have not been booked as a Christmas record because only some of the songs really have a Christmas connection and some of them do not. But obviously they are billing it as a Christmas record with the poinsettias here. This was apparently very odd for a budget label, apparently a fundraiser for it's for these nuns, right? At the faculty of Regina High School, Hyattsville, Maryland. But I don't know how much money they ever made off of this, because probably not that much. I imagine they just paid them for the right to record it and was done with it, because this is like, yeah, you know. It's funny, though. This record's kind of humorous because it is just literally the Singing Nuns. Then we have this one, Christmas with the Mexicali Brass. I used to have this one as a kid with a different cover on it, the Sleigh in the Snow one, but this has been reissued a few times too. Love this record so much. Love it more than Herb Alpert's Christmas album. And actually they did a follow-up one too that I used to have, but I gave away because I do have the music and all that on external hard drive, but it's I don't remember the name of it, but it's like Winter Wonderland or something, and it all has like snow related songs, not necessarily Christmas, but all snow, like Let It Snow and Skater's Waltz and blah blah blah. It's kind of a cute record too. Love the Mexicali Brass Christmas. That concludes all of the Christmas budget label records that I have right now. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more videos, and let me know if you have any of those records or information. People are always forthcoming with information, which is great, and interest in those records, whatever. You can leave those in the comments below. And happy holidays, and I hope you have a Merry Christmas and everything else happening.